happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Ramadan, Musmaka, Arbor Day. If you don't celebrate it, I'm gonna wish it to you anyway. And I know we're all just trying to do our thing, celebrate, and it's all great. So happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Ramadan, Musmaka, Arbor Day.
We celebrate for myriad of reasons, reverence and kinship, all over the seasons, meeting, keeping faith, whatever we believe in. Every precious moment, so imbued with meaning. Coquito and parandas, merriment and joy, from elders in each family to every girl and boy. Festive attire to lift up every voice. Hoist up a glass of your beverage of choice. Whatever it is you celebrate, we've got something for you. Every apparatus from Canara to Menorah, everything's a part of it from fauna to the flora. Shindig, chilling in my holiday fedora, building on the happy times we're hoping to have more of. Rejoice with the feast, warm tidings how we greet you. We got a full spread, vegetarians can eat too. Sending happy gifts of love and fellowship to each of you. Shorties playing peekaboo, learning why they're teaching you to seek the youth for energy that's reaching through.
Oh, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Ramadan, Musmaka, Arbor Day. If you don't celebrate it, I'm gonna wish it to you anyway. And I know we're all just trying to do our thing, to celebrate, and it's all great. So happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Ramadan, Musmaka, Arbor Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, podcast fans of all ages, how you doing tonight? I'm Dave Valente. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. Joining us tonight from Colorado, AJ. What's going on, AJ?
Hello. I'm surviving December at like 60 degrees.
I'm at 35 degrees here in West Virginia.
That's fun.
It's fun. That's why I'm inside. So. And joining us from Maryland, Dan the Man Fishman.
What's up, everybody? I wanted to share my awesome Hanukkah present. Offensive crayons, red, white, and fuck you. And this one I thought was hilarious. Can you guys read that?
No, nope. I can't read.
It says, "My vote doesn't matter."
Well, yeah.
That was pretty funny. Special shout out to Jeremy.
Okay. What's up, Brandy?
Hello.
Howdy. So tonight is the first part of our two-part year in review because, honestly, it feels like we could do a month in review with all the news stories that happened. Let's not do that. This is really a year to forget. I mean, this is why I called it Trip Down Amnesia Lane. I kind of want to forget this year. It's been a rough one. Especially if you're following politics and the shit that's going on in... Yeah,
I was just going to say, in terms of politics, this is just the first year. Inauguration was January 20th.
It's not even a full year yet.
Exactly.
Fuck me.
Right. Yesterday was 11 months. And, Nelly.
And today is the winter solstice, so the shortest day of the year.
Is it today or tomorrow?
Today.
Hilarious.
21st.
Oh, because I guess winter starts tomorrow.
Whatever. Yeah, something like that. But shortest day of the year, so the days all get a little bit longer. Hopefully not in terms of more news and bullshit happening, but just more more good vibes. You know,
It's like, is
that's
that
what
a
I'm hoping
threat?
for.
Like,
Yeah. Um, I'm glad I don't, glad I don't work today, because usually when I work on the winter solstice, for the shortest day of the year, it ends up always being the longest day of the year. So glad to
mhm.
get that out of the way. I'm actually off work until the end of the year. January 2nd, I come back to work. So yeah. So lots of big stories that happened this year. That's kind of a no shit statement. We
Yeah.
dealt with what we're doing with in this show is we're talking about stuff that happened from January until the end of June. Some might have stuff that kind of carries over. I think one of the stories kind of carries over between both halves of the year. Well, a lot of them carry over between both halves of the year, but there are a couple that do. Let's talk about the first one, which is the most obvious one that we just kind of alluded to, which is Trump coming back to power after being out of office for 4 years, wins election to be the 47th president of the United States. Um, First one since Grover
Cleveland.
Cleveland to be a interrupted president, and yeah, the from the time he was elected all the way through inauguration, it seemed like he was dead set in putting into power the least qualified cabinet in American history. Um,
Right.
you know,
I mean, it was breathtaking.
yeah.
Aside from Kennedy, who we can talk about and have our own show on that. Hegseth has proved time and time again to be completely incompetent regarding the
Well,
military.
but like before he even stepped foot in the Pentagon,
Right.
he would, the stories about him, cheating on his wife, getting drunk, uh,
His own mother telling him that
alcoholism.
he shouldn't be in this job.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like,
Listen to mamas. We freaking know.
The other thing too is that he actually did serve.
oh
Okay,
yeah,
and while he served, he did not rise to a rank of leadership. I appreciate having a complete civilian as Secretary of Defense,
yes.
or having somebody who served, who was in the highest level.
Uh,
He added people to signal group. Exactly right.
yeah, I mean, that was
That was astonishing. But
How does he still have a job? As a nurse, if I accidentally shared
yeah,
HIPAA information on Signal or anywhere else on the planet, I could lose my license. How does he still have a job
well, I can
yep,
tell
after
you
that?
why. I can tell you why all these people still have jobs. Remarkable lack of turnover versus his first administration. Not Cash Patel, Dan Bongino is probably the first high
yep,
profile casualty of this administration, which was just announced. But these people are there because of what happened on January 6th of 2020,
yep,
or 2021, I'm sorry, where the cabinet actually met and were discussing the
yeah,
25th Amendment and
yep,
invoking that because of what happened.
yep,
Um, the Donald Trump won a cabinet of people when push comes to shove, no matter what he does, no matter how many illegal things he does, and we're
yep,
seeing it now,
yep,
they're going to back him. They're
yep.
they're they're going to back him, and they're going to not if
They
he
won't remove.
decided to invade Congress right now, they wouldn't be pulling a let's meet and talk about the
Yeah.
25th Amendment.
No, I mean, he clearly does. He is not more incapacitated than Joe Biden was, but I think he might be
He's there.
comparably incapacitated.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, 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 and they conceal that. I mean, I think it's harder because Donald Trump is wily, right? He's wily like a fox. You can't. His instincts are like those of a rat. He
Mm.
suspects a trap all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Joe Biden, it's pretty easy to, hey,
Joe
Joe,
Biden
I
was like,
think,
cheese.
exactly. Joe, I think there's gumdrops in the next room. Gumdrops? I love gumdrops. But he is clearly the number one thing for him is loyalty. Loyalty is what he wants in a cabinet more than anything else.
In
And let's
every aspect of his life, I think, is what he wants. That.
Well, and what's astonishing about that is that to that end, you see people completely disregarding their own reputations, damage to their own character to prove their loyalty to him. Somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, who at one point in time, was pretty popular for saying things that were not popular, like when she went after Kamala Harris. People who knew Tulsi knew that she was always anti-LGBT and had a lot of other things wrong with her. But she at least had apparently the courage of her convictions. However, here you see her now, right? 4 years ago, there was a statement that she made where it's like, United States should absolutely not be involved in Venezuela,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And, here we are completely opposite. And you can say that for all the rest of the cabinet. J.D. Vance, right? J.D. Vance said that Trump was like Hitler, right? I mean, and that's, people who aren't familiar with Mike Godwin, he posts occasionally on my thing on my wall on Facebook. Couldn't be happier about that. He invented this thing called Godwin's Law, which says that in a conversation on the internet, the first person to mention Hitler loses. So J.D. Vance lost by comparing Trump to Hitler, but then we all lost because J.D. Vance became vice president. And you see all these people who abandon their principles for the taste of power, and it's the worst. It is the worst thing that can happen, and such a cautionary tale. So, I got a big idea. I'm going to write it down because I don't want to just keep talking, but I don't want to forget this idea.
I am enjoying the Trump administration. Let me back up. Let me say that differently. I am enjoying the receipts from the internet with the Trump administration because it's like you said, every single person up there has contradicted themselves. Every single person in his cabinet.
But Donald Trump contradicted himself. I mean,
well, Trump can, because sometimes he's just like when he's talking about like, literally hanging people, that's just a joke. But when he's talking about helping the troops by giving them this warrior bonus, that right there is the truth. So yeah, I know.
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
And
hold on a second. Over this comment that Thomas dropped in here, using Kirk's the tent that he was assassinated in.
I hadn't heard that.
Yes, there was a thing today that dropped because Nicki Minaj, for whatever reason, is now Trumper, and she was with Erica Kirk, and they were sitting across from each other, and Nicki Minaj mentioned something along the lines of, "And what do we think of Vice President J.D. Vance, aka the assassin?"
What?
And the crowd, like, Google it, man. It is
it's actually a headline on Drudge right now.
The crowd laughed. And Erica Kirk was like, "Because I'm a Christian and because I know you're a good Christian woman," motioning to Nicki fucking Minaj. I think that it's okay. I can accept a joke. We do need to laugh. God would want us to laugh. Yeah. What? Bitch, what?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's pretty.
No, Jesus Christ has nothing to do with this. Not a thing.
I do want to say that it is very traceable what happened with Nicki Minaj and why she went over to that side. Okay, it's about COVID, and she retweeted some COVID bullshit about her cousin becoming emasculated or whatever, and that was sort of the beginning of the end. People legitimately dumped on her for being so stupid.
Well, she's also married to a pedophile, so that didn't help.
Is she married to somebody?
She's married to a pedophile.
I was not aware of that.
Yes. Yes.
She charted her own course to the dark side. Okay, it's not like all of a sudden she was misled or something like that. she had been on that path, and now, it's the easiest place for her to be. She's at the port of convenience, where, again, just somebody who completely has no principles.
Look, you're somebody who probably would not have reached the audience that is MAGA.
Yeah, never.
Now she has a whole new audience that she can reach to. She's already, got the money off of, mainstream folks. Not that I've ever bought any Nicki Minaj stuff, but now because she's part of this grifterverse, she's got a whole new base of fans to get money off of. So I mean, I get it. I get it in the pure grifter, mindset that seems to pervade the right and the libertarian circles. Like, how do I make money off these rubes? And she's found a way.
Yeah, Thomas, I do agree that it feels a lot like a dystopian movie. I will add to that. We are not just in the dystopian movie. We are actually in the parts of the movie that were ended on the editing floor because they were just like, oh no, we can't do that to audiences. That's too much.
And the worst part about it is that allies are so hard to find right now.
Yeah.
And because you would think that Democrats could be good allies to us, but they're not. All they want right now is, fuck, we want this power. We want this power to implement our version of the world.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. I was talking. Go ahead.
I dropped my first Substack this week.
Nice.
Talking about this. This is really the lesson that I think the wrong lesson for Democrats to learn is that, when we get to 2026 and let's say the Democrats, build on their momentum and they sweep back to power, they're thinking that they're sweeping back to power because people are just clamoring for their policies. It's a policy win that people are endorsing their policy. It's not that. It's that people have vacillated back and forth, especially independents, have vacillated back and forth because they don't trust either side. And when one side tries to force their shit onto us, we reject it. We move over to the other side to hope that they learn the lesson. They don't learn the lesson, so we're going to vacillate back over to this side. And the more that these parties continue to just perpetuate this, if we win, they just love our policies. They're not learning the lesson. They're going to be swept out of power within 2 to 4 years. It's just America is just teetering back and forth, and everything just feels like we're in a spin cycle of a washer. That we don't know which way's right, which way's wrong, which way. I mean, because we're just trying to survive from day to day.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, we've gotten into a situation where one of the big stories of the first half of the year is how little the Democrats did in response to Trump. I mean, it was Chuck Schumer saying, Hakeem Jeffries and I have just sent a strongly worded letter to the president. Yep. Bitch, that ain't gonna do shit. You're playing chess with a guy who wants to beat you to death with a hammer.
Well,
per my last email.
Yeah, and exactly. And you saw this with the shutdown where they actually did some stuff where they had the shutdown and then they sort of rolled and said, okay, we're going to cave because we want I don't know what we want. They wanted the soldiers they didn't want the troops to not get paid or whatever the deal was, but they caved when the reality was they didn't have to. The Republicans would have repealed the filibuster. They wouldn't have let the government stay shut down. Now, I mean, Democrats make the argument, oh, SNAP benefits were going away and shit like that. Look, it's already fucked. At this point in time, the best thing you can do is not comply. But that's what they're going to do. And here, let me pose this question to you both. Democrats sweep to power. They get a 5-vote majority in the House, and they get a 5-vote majority in the Senate. Would you be in favor of impeachment, knowing that they could impeach him, but they could not remove him from office?
No. I mean, it's a waste of time. I mean, it's just like government shutdowns. They're a waste of time. They're a waste of money. They're a waste of resources. But you know that they're going to start doing this shit. And as soon as they get to power, even if they have one vote majority in both houses, they're not going to really. They're going to play the game that we've seen over several administrations. We're
AJ,
mad
what
at
do
you. We're
think?
going to try to impeach you.
Okay. As far as the impeachment, I agree with Dave. Like, it's a waste of time.
Yep.
It's just stupid. And if we do impeach him and they do remove him, it just puts JD Vance. What the fuck? Why would we bother? Also to Brother Victor 13, my answer is no. We shouldn't be
Same.
requiring everyone to serve in the military.
Shouldn't be required that anybody do anything. That
No.
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, that's fundamentally where we are. So this is going to be the thing that I was going to circle back to. I was having a conversation. You might have seen it in some other places, but it's the Christmas season, and we talk about the baby Jesus and the golden rule, right? And then we often refer to it as the Judeo-Christian golden rule. But there's a very significant difference between what Hillel said 100 years beforehand and then what Jesus said. Jesus said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's pretty straightforward. Hillel said, that which is hateful to you, do not do unto others. And it's a subtle but slightly different thing. Because right now, there are idiots who believe that they are doing the right thing by banning gender confirmation surgery. They're not. I don't believe that they are evil people. I believe that they are ignorant and misguided, but
Misinformed.
Yeah, misinformed. They're right. There's people that whatever it is. I mean, this is always the way it is. You can go back to any societal change, and there are ignorant people that hold back change for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Happened with anything that we look at. The problem is that when we have a government that has the power to do things, right? If people think the purpose of government is to make everybody's life better, then that means that power in the hands of government is going to be used to make people do something terrible at some point in time. And that's where we are. This should be the cautionary tale of too much power in government.
Yes.
And yet here we are with Democrats actually relishing the fact that the government has this much power because they can't wait to get it to do the things that they want to do. Whether it's rent control or trying to think of other things, maybe required vaccines or other crazy things that the Democrats think are really important. You know what? Free colleges and universities. All of these things that they're like, we're going to do these things because we think that it's going to make society better. The problem is that there's a complete lack of understanding that the people who I really think are ignorant, misguided, and dare I say assholes on the Republican side, there are a lot of them who believe that a lot of the things that they're doing are morally justified. Okay, there are small-minded idiots who think that the country is safer if you stop immigrants from coming in the country. They're wrong. That's not true. In fact, the the people who love freedom and liberty the most are the ones who work so hard to get here. You can make a strong argument that, in fact, the whole anti-immigration position on the part of the Republicans now, especially on the part of Trump, is that they don't want people who value liberty. They want people who value loyalty above liberty. They want people in the country who are willing to close their eyes and think of England. Maybe that's not a polite way to put it. But this is the issue that we have, that when we say we want to have the power to do good things with government, all that's really happening is we're giving power to government.
Yeah.
There's a great Far Side cartoon where a man is scolding his dog, and he says, "That's a bad dog, Rover. You shouldn't get on the couch. You shouldn't shed. Rover is a bad dog." What your dog hears, blah, 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 Rover, blah, 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 Rover, blah, 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 Rover.
Yeah.
That's what government is. Blah, 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 power, blah, 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 power, blah, 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 power. Go ahead, AJ.
Okay. Brother Victor, also, can I ask why kids do not get free school and free school food? In some states they do. Colorado being one of them. Actually, the county that I came from in Tennessee had free school lunch because they applied for the federal money to make that happen. Colorado has like income tax and stuff. That's how they make stuff. Oh, and weed. That's how a lot of that happens. When the money is allocated for that, it happens.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't, and it's usually up to local places to control that.
And you can, I mean, people say, why should we pay for other kids' school lunches? And we can get all into this reductive argument about, why would we make kids go to school, and why do we do this? Why do we pay for this stuff? Of all the things that we pay for, education, there are certainly many things we can do with education to rein in the funding, to rein in the money that's being spent on it. The schools don't need 15 principals. More money towards the classrooms, more money towards the education.
You mean less chiefs running the whole thing?
Exactly.
Less administration in the frickin' way?
I remember I went to my high school graduation 20 some odd years after I graduated. And when I went to school, there was one principal and a vice principal, and that was it. That was the only principal designees. When I went there, and this has probably gotten even worse since then, there is a principal for the seniors, a principal for the juniors, a principal for the sophomores, a principal for the freshmen, an athletics principal, a non-athletics, the other stuff
administration.
That you do. Yeah, and these are principals, so they're getting paid principal salaries to do the jobs that were in the schools before. That certainly aren't making principal level salaries.
Well,
that amount of overhead doesn't really teach a child anything.
But the real answer as to why, and I mean, I don't mean to say that what AJ and Dave were saying wrong, but the underlying reason as to why the schools are the way they are is because there's no competition. Because there's a mandate that there will be federal education, there will be government paid for education, and children will go. And because of that, because there's no option, there's no competition, schools have no interest in being more efficient. They have no reason to try to provide the best education they can for less money, because you have people who get paid for doing their job.
Yeah. And it's not just that. I mean, we equate throwing more money at schools or into education as to improving educational outcomes.
Yep.
But we're not doing it in an efficient manner. Like, I'd rather my and I'm biased because my wife is a teacher, but I would rather see $20,000 more go to a teacher than to having another principal over athletics.
Well, and I think that there is a lot to be said for that. If you think about, what is the best state in the union for education, it's not even close. It's Massachusetts by a mile. And the reason why is because teachers in Massachusetts make about $120,000. I had a friend who moved to Massachusetts from Virginia with a master's in history and a master's in education. And in 6 years, there were no job openings in the entire state. Sure. Because why would people leave that job? There's no question about it. That's how you should spend the money.
Sure.
However, we know that money alone doesn't do it.
It won't.
Because Bill Gates gave an assload of money to Philadelphia to try to improve their school system. And in the end, it got worse.
With those, and that's throw money at the problem and hope it fixes things. There was no accountability. There was no method to say, we put dollars to this. What are the results we're seeing? Are they working? Are they not? It was just here.
Yep.
I've got a lot of money. Here, you have a lot of money,
Yeah.
some of my money, and you go run with it. And it just doesn't work like that. You got to have measurables.
As for competition and choices, the best answer I can give to why that makes things better is that makes things better in every situation. Every business you think about, right? If there's only one company that you can get a ride from, a taxi service, right? There's only taxis. Taxis are terrible. I can remember going to New York as a child, even as a young adult, and riding around in taxis. And then, they were filthy. They always stunk of urine. And then Uber and Lyft came in, and there was competition. And now all the cars are perfect. I was in New York 2 months ago, and the only time I smelled urine in a taxi, it was me. So
If you need a referral to a urologist, I bet I could find one.
Uh-oh.
No, I was just drinking.
I mean,
I honestly, okay, as someone that moved from a small town, the smallest town probably that any of us have lived in, I can tell you that competition works wonders. Okay, pizza places, right? You're going to be so excited by our choices. We had Pizza Hut, we had Domino's, we had Papa John's, and then we got Little Caesars. What? Crazy, right? So what really sucked is our Papa Murphy's didn't survive because that one was actually pretty decent. You'd get the fresh ingredients, you'd take it home, you'd cook it. It would already be hot. Like when you were eating it, it was still hot because you didn't drive 30 minutes from town to your house in the middle of nowhere, because that's how people live in Tennessee. So, and what Dan says is right. Public transportation. We were in Morrison, Tennessee. There was no public transportation except the one guy in town that offered taxi service. And guess what? He was one of the reddest Trumpers that ever did Trump. And it was terrible. So obviously that wouldn't work for anybody. We move here. My sons are able to get wherever the fuck they want to go without any issues at all. So yeah, competition, it serves its purpose. It really does.
Right. And in competition, and I want to acknowledge my brother's joke about me, but the competition in education, we only have to look at the education systems that have competition in them to see the excellence that is there. I don't think anybody has any illusion that public schools and private schools are competitive academically. Now, I am a product of public schools up until ninth grade. I went, and then 10th grade, I went away to a boarding school. But and then I went to public universities. But when you see, and lots of smarter people come out of public schools, but the private schools fight to deliver the best services they can. Why? Because
you gotta sell the car.
Exactly, because they have a desire to prove that their product is the best, and their product is education. So,
and it's crazy because I would judge a competition every year when I lived in Atlanta at Marist School, private school in
well known, a top 250 school.
Yeah, it's very very good school in Atlanta. To go there, I mean, let's say it's from, I think, from 7th until graduation, till 12th. You spend more going to Marist School than you would going to Duke.
Yep.
And you're like, honestly, if I'm spending that much money for you to get your high school diploma, you better have a Fortune 500 job coming out of high school, because that's a chunk of change. It's hard to fathom, because you want to point to that as being competition, but it really isn't competition, because the vast majority of people will not have the
Sure.
resources, even with ample scholarships and things like that.
And
Well, don't have the resources
concerns.
to get there. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't have the resources to get there, no matter how smart their kid is, because there's tons of smart kids.
Well,
Mhm.
and realistically speaking, the best schools in the country aren't competing with the public schools. They're competing with the private schools that are one step below them.
Yeah.
And then et cetera, et cetera. And, I would completely agree. I think Marist is probably on par with most schools, probably around $70,000 a year now for high school. Okay. That's a
Probably. It
shit
was like
chunk of change.
$60,000 a year back in 2013. So
Yeah.
maybe even
My
closer to
goodness.
75.
Yeah. That's a shit ton of change.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you had that money lying around and you knew that it was a 5% better education than the local public school and you had the money, wouldn't you spend it on your kids?
Sure.
Wouldn't
And
you give
I
five
mean
shit?
that's
Yep.
the funny thing. Like you'd walk there and you're walking through the school and you see generations
Yep.
of people who went to school, they're teaching there, and then you have like four
Yeah.
families with 4 or 5 kids going to the school at the same time. You're like, y'all have more dollars and cents.
Right.
Like you
Right.
got a lot
Exactly.
of
Right.
fuck ton of money.
You see, I had, in high school, I had classes. I had 4 of my teachers were PhDs.
Yeah,
Why? You don't really need a PhD to teach history at the high school level
that's
or
to sell it.
literature. Exactly.
It's to sell it.
But you get they pay for the best people, and the reason why, I mean, I would argue that you get those quality of teachers because they're going to be the people who are going to resonate. I choose that word deliberately with the best students. Okay. The fact of the matter is, I was a student that my teachers in Galveston didn't resonate with me. I mean, I this is going to sound arrogant, but let's put false modesty aside for a second. I was smarter than all of them. I'd had a better education growing up with a scientist as a dad and a librarian as a mother than most of my teachers who were in high school, who had gone to the local colleges. But when I got to Fountain Valley, one of the very first things my advisor said to me, Dr. Phillips, history, George Mason, PhD, he said, the most important thing that we can teach you here, Dan, is that there's more to intelligence than being a smart ass. I'm like,
Sure.
wow.
All right. Well, let's
I like
bring
that.
let's bring the discussion back to the year in
Yeah,
review.
that was my fault.
No, this is good. I mean, it was a good discussion on education.
We should talk about the Pope. That's
do
a
a
big story.
whole oh
The
god.
Pope,
Yep.
Yeah, Pope.
a religious leader? Okay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, JD Vance visits him and he dies.
No,
We get a new
well,
Pope.
I
The
mean,
assassin. The
The
assassin.
assassin. He is the assassin.
JD Vance,
She
the
was
assassin,
right.
kills the Pope,
Kill the Pope.
and then they install an American Pope. Right?
Yeah.
It's classic regime change.
Oh my god. Although, to be fair, the American Pope has been very anti-Trump in his, at least not, maybe not calling
as
out Trump
every religious
specifically.
leader should
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
He
I mean,
pretends to be anti-Trump, but really,
well,
no. He has been, and it's. And I only mention it briefly because I do think it is an interesting thing to see an American Pope right now. I think it's a
yeah.
statement by the Catholic Church
Oh yeah,
and the
absolutely.
Cardinals and
even the Tigers and maybe the White Sox too.
yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, the Bears just qualified for the playoffs with Detroit's loss, and that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see, the Catholic Church making news for some things other than kitty diddling.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
It's good to see, and Trump has stepped in it because he's sent ICE to his hometown of Chicago.
Yep.
So it's
Exactly.
given him fodder to talk about, the teachings of Jesus, where treat the immigrant as one of your own, and quite honestly, it's drawing that contrast between people of faith, people who actually understand the faith, and this kind of faux Christianity that is at the heart of Trump's administration. This faux notion of Christianity. They're couching all of this stuff in Christian terms, but it's not Christianity at all. It's just this the pretense of knowledge. Um, when it comes to talking about Christianity and couching and justifying what Trump is doing in the terms of Christianity, when you have an actual American-born leader of a worldwide faith saying, you know what, this ain't it, man. Reject this shit. Um, no, he didn't say reject this shit. That's me. But
yeah,
I'm glad to see an American Pope. Which one is it, Leo 14th? What is his name now?
Yeah, I think so.
Leo 14th, 15th, 16th, something like that.
Yeah.
This time it's for real.
Leo the Lion.
Yeah, maybe he ends up being Leo the Lionhearted and standing up to Donald Trump, which for all the leaders in Europe, one of the big stories of the first half of the year, the tariffs, the attempted start of tariffs that Donald Trump has tried to do. What is it? It was the Independence Day he tried to call it, on those tariffs, and he tariffed all of our essentially every country got a tariff slapped on it, including
Is it Freedom Day?
Yeah, Liberation Day. That's what it was.
Liberation Day. That's what it was.
Yeah. So he's slapping tariffs. He slaps tariffs on the Halland-Baker Islands, and like an island that has nothing but penguins on it. Like, what are we doing here? Like, don't you have anybody in your administration just kind of like, oh, hold on a sec, that is not a country, actually.
They cannot read.
Yeah. The penguins are not sending us any goods or services. We don't need to tariff them. Like, and that's a lot of the things that are going on, like a lot of the mistakes of the Trump administration. It's like if you took like 2 seconds to fact check any of this shit, you would say, this is wrong. But again, right now we live in a post-truth society, that we are that even if you see something with your eyes, no, you did. We don't. It could be AI. Who knows? But we witnessed, in 2020, we witnessed the guy kneeling on the back of George Floyd, and you had people telling you that no, that was that
No,
he didn't die of
what happened.
he didn't die of the dude kneeling on his back. He died of drug overdose.
Absolutely.
No, he was saying I can't breathe, and the dude just nailed on his back for 9 minutes.
And then he stopped breathing.
And then no shit, he stopped breathing. Holy cow!
Mm-hmm.
But we don't believe that. We got people who don't believe that because. Whether it's Twitter or wherever they consume their news, YouTube, whatever, they're being told that that's not what happened.
Exactly.
Here's what happened, and it's complete bullshit.
Yeah.
And we're in a post-truth society. We got to pull the nose up and get out of this death spiral that we're in when it comes to news, or nothing good is going to come of it, because we will lose fundamental trust in everything, in everyone.
And the thing about the news and the corruption that's happening, and we know, right? I mean, Donald Trump is right when he says there's fake news. He just is wrong about who's making it. Most of the fake news is coming from his side. But the fake news that's out there, and let's talk about a couple of interesting things. Like, for example, David, I believe you once lived in Fulton County.
I did.
Fulton County just announced that indeed in 2020, they confirmed 350,000 ballots that they shouldn't have.
That's in fact incredibly not true. Even Grok, the Twitter thing, has said no announcement has been made about this stuff. I think they found like 300.
Hang on.
That were double scanned, and then that wouldn't have changed, or 3,000 still wouldn't have changed the. Oh, we lost Dan.
What? No, I'm back. So Dave, I don't think you're right about this.
I don't think I think a lot of the Fulton County stuff that we're seeing is
audience. They're going to duel.
Bot generated.
You can pull up the link.
Yep. I mean, we look around. I did a lot of research
How
on
many
this yesterday. I mean, the county board said that they did it. They said we do not dispute this count. But we come to a great point. What can we believe?
Nothing.
Why does it matter?
Ever.
And the reason why it matters is because government has so much power.
They own the news sources.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, this is, well, look, guys, this is exactly what we're talking about. Okay, I mean, the truth is pretty straightforward. When Fulton County says, "Yeah, we fucked it," okay, and then everybody says that's fake news, not true. 315,000 votes, and you can make an argument that they should have examined them and said, "Okay, these violate the rules for being good votes, but we're going to admit them anyway." And essentially, what happened was they didn't have a chain of custody on those votes. The officials who were supposed to sign off and said these are legitimate votes, didn't sign off on them. So according to the law, if there's no sign off, those aren't considered valid votes.
And they were for him or against him?
We don't know.
Okay.
350,000 votes. They could split that. I mean, it's Georgia. It's Fulton County. David could probably tell you.
Early votes from the 2020 election.
Yeah. The chances are pretty good. I mean, if I didn't know they were early votes. If they're early votes, they're probably in favor of Democrats.
I was
right?
about.
I mean, Democrats vote early, so it's a bad. But regardless, I'm not saying that it's
Agreed,
a
Brother
problem.
Victor.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's a problem about what happened. I'm saying it's a problem about the fact that we can't accept the truth. And it doesn't matter what side we want to be on in the situation if we can't do that. And I think the only thing that we can do is to try to be as open to hearing the truth as we can and encourage others to do that as well. And I mean, that's the whole of 2025, right? 2025 is nothing but lies, mostly.
Yeah.
Everything that the Trump administration has said about immigrants, complete lies. Everything the Trump administration has said about vaccines, complete lies. Everything the Trump administration has said about LGBT, complete lies. Yep. Everything the government has said about Venezuela, lies. Ukraine, lies.
Women,
lies.
Yeah.
And yet here we are, where you can't convince a Republican that these things are lies. Like, I mean, the arguments about whether or not what's happening with Venezuela is legal or illegal, there are, let's be clear, there are some Republicans who are standing up and saying this is a war crime. What's happening is not okay.
Yep.
Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, a few others. Maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene, as crazy as she is. But in this post-truth world, I don't think we're ever going to solve that problem anymore. I don't think we can. And so if we can't get people to listen, Brother Victor, if Trump gets his way, we won't be in NATO anymore. So don't worry about it. You can fight the Russians on your own. Going to be just like 1943 again. So if we're in the situation where people have this motivation to use disinformation against each other, we want to fight that, but we also want to address the issue of how do we disincentivize people from doing that? How do we make it so that it's not worth it to use disinformation as a weapon.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it. This entire thing is the problem is we've got too much power in government, you know, and people want to use that power to put their version of what they think is best for everybody and force their life onto other people. And uh, I don't know. I mean, you know, we talked about AI last week. They're able to spit out shit now quicker than and you know, we think AI is going to be a great truth teller or anything like that, but you can say, hey, AI, Chat GPT, whoever you're using, print up an article that's, you know, of number of words that basically says the entire 2020 election was stolen for Joe Biden using this X, Y, and Z data points. And it'll do that. It'll spit out an article for you. And then if you've got a bot army like the Russians do, like the North Koreans do, like the Chinese do, not like the United States does, you know, because we're not above influencing other countries.
I mean, yeah, it's not like Twitter is a political arm for Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
it is.
Exactly. But, you know, within a half hour, that article is retweeted hundreds of times, thousands of times, millions of times before the end of the day. And, you know, all of a sudden, you know, if you're, you know, just standard red conservative person, you're on Twitter and all of a sudden your feed is full of this story. Like every one of these influencers say Trump's the 2020 election was stolen. That's all you're going to say. That's all you're going to see, and that's all that becomes truth to you because I saw it 20 times on my Twitter feed. That's true. Don't even look at the article. Like you know, I've done it before. Shared something without looking at the article. You got to look at the article and be smart about it, and you know, start doing a little investigation on stuff before you share it because sometimes that it, you know, even the most rational sounding article is going to be complete bullshit. So, but yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, you know, the internet age was supposed to connect us and give us access to all the information in the world at our fingertips. And
it has.
You know, we've got all the porn.
We figured out new ways to hate each other.
Oh, if we got all the porn in the world at our fingertips, although state governments are trying to prevent us from accessing our porn.
Well, it's interesting, right? A lot of people, right, live in the states now where you can't get Pornhub.
Not me.
Well, and states are starting to, like Michigan was looking at banning VPNs.
Yeah.
Which holy shit.
Did you hear the libertarian go brrr? Like that was awful. Did you hear that sound?
Yes. I mean, seriously, I saw that and I was like, oh no. Yeah, let's not do that. Yeah, I mean, it just feels like we're being funneled into a controlled system. We're just, you know, whether it ends up being a dictatorship of the left or a dictatorship of the right, we're just being funneled into a system that is meant to control us, no matter what we do. Right. All right. One of the other big stories this year was Doge.
Fuck Doge.
Fuck Doge. Doge, kind of like that Shakespeare quote, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
I kind of like to say it with the Homer Simpson voice. Doge.
Doge. Douche. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Department
of Government Efficiency.
The Department of Government Efficiency was supposed to be run by Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek dropped out of doing that because he wanted to run for governor of Ohio and then get lambasted by Republicans in Ohio for being dark-skinned. But all told, because it didn't really survive the half-year mandate that it had, Elon Musk left government over a tiff with the Donald Trump administration, and really kind of sparked the whole Jeffrey Epstein controversy again when he left by saying, the reason why you're not hearing anything about the Epstein files is because Donald Trump's in them. And all of a sudden everybody's like, whoa. Not that we didn't think that he was in them, but it was somebody that was on his side is now saying it. But
isn't it funny how like we suddenly care when a man says something about the Epstein file? I'm just sorry.
no,
Continue.
I mean, no, I get you. I get you. Estimated savings that the Department of Government Efficiency website puts on there, it says
Negative.
$214 billion of savings. I'm gonna say probably bullshit on a lot of the stuff that they're saying here.
Is there a negative sign in front of that?
Well,
Because I feel like they caused more chaos
Oh
and
yeah,
more backtracking that had to cost money. You know what I mean?
yep.
well, it's because it's all about A&R is all about which column you look at, and you can say, well, we stopped paying all of these bills.
Yeah, we stopped all these contractors, and
Exactly.
they did.
But right, exactly, and they did that. But what that doesn't tell you is that meant all of this shit that was supposed to get done had to be done by other people that we paid twice as much money. We're not
Exactly,
including that
and
in
not
the
get the normal work that those people were doing because that fell on me.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Honestly, the 214 billion was let's just say, and this is the second half of the year, but between August and middle of October, we added $1 trillion to the deficit or to
Yep.
the debt. The debt calculators at 38 trillion. It was at 37. It hit 37 at the beginning of August, and it hit 38 trillion in the middle of October when the government supposedly shut down. That's how much money this government is hemorrhaging right now.
Can I ask a question real quick because y'all
Yeah.
are super smart? So you know how like if you don't pay a bill for a long time, you get sold to like a debt collector. Who's going to own us?
China. So just a quick little aside. The United States has used that as an economic weapon in the past. We sold debt to China and then devalued our currency and paid them back, literally 25 cents on the dollar. If you believe that Dick Cheney is an evil genius, which I do, it was probably one of the most astute economic battles that's ever been fought. On the other hand, it was evil.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
You said Dick Cheney. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, right. The question is, do I feel bad for China? I don't feel bad for China.
Oh no.
But so our debt is fictitious because we can print money. And one of the fascinating things that we learned about COVID is that we learned during COVID was that inflation actually has been happening, even though it seems like inflation has been relatively under control. But what happened was as technology stood up and supply chain got better, products got significantly cheaper to deliver from point A to point B. So to get bacon into the grocery store or toilet paper delivered to your house became so significantly cheaper that we didn't notice the fact that our currency was actually being continuously devalued over time because it seemed like prices were staying the same. But your currency was being devalued because the government was printing money. And the cost of getting something to you became cheaper. But then when COVID hit and the supply chain was completely disrupted, then all of a sudden we saw, holy fuck, this is what's actually been happening to our currency.
Yeah.
Did we all smell like urine then?
We did.
That was not my fault. But that's exactly the problem is that inflation only means one thing. We talked about this last week, right? Inflation is only when it's not when prices go up. It's when the money supply is inflated. And Project Warp Speed, which a lot of people are saying now that if you're going to point to the best thing that Trump's done, it was that. Because they did. They got
the vaccine out quickly.
They got the vaccine out very quickly.
But $10 trillion. This is between the three different stimulus packages that were passed. One was passed by Biden, but the two that were passed by Trump third passed by Biden, and then the $4 trillion of market liquidity that the Fed put into at the beginning of the crisis. So that was $10 trillion. Of that, individuals received like a couple grand at most, 3,800 at most. It was a pittance when if you just broke out that money and handed it to people. It was like $32,000 a person.
Right.
It didn't solve the supply chain issues. People would have had a crap ton of money and nothing to buy.
Right.
But it was, the amount of money that we spent dealing with COVID was, and nobody's really accounted for that. There's never been like a truth and reconciliation
as well. The payroll protection program.
Well,
that ended up being just an enormous scam.
Yes.
The people who had friends in government signing up for it. And I will tell you this, so this directly affected me because we could have, when I was executive director of the Libertarian Party, applied to be part of the PPP. And it would have covered all the salaries of everybody working at LPHQ. No questions asked. And my job as executive director was to present every decision to the board. And thankfully, Nick Sarwark was in charge. And I said, is this something we want to do? It's going to give us about $1 million because that's roughly what payroll was for the LPHQ for a year. I said, and we can spend that $1 million on candidates or ballot access. Ballot access is going to be really tough and expensive during COVID. He's like, no, we are not taking money from the federal government. We are the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
And we didn't. And I'm glad about that. But that shit, you're right. We did not get our money's worth in terms of how much it deflated the currency. Craig talks about the fact that the precious metals, which, are not infected,
Silver's outpacing gold at this point. Last I heard it's not as valuable as gold, but the rise in silver was outpacing gold.
Exactly. The curve is higher for the math chunks.
Yeah.
It's copper the same way, right? We recently got rid of the
Watch your catalytic converters, kids.
Exactly. Right. Those have platinum in them. There is there's a lot of craziness going on, and it's going to get worse. If you've noticed that beef prices are worse.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What's interesting about it is that there is this manipulation that can be done with fuel prices because everything is affected by gas. And right now, the price of gas is low. But it's artificially low.
Yeah.
Because essentially the administration has control over supply and demand. And so that is hiding things for a little while. But I don't think they can keep hiding things until November.
No.
This conversation is making me think that everything is fake.
Everything is fake.
Like, I know time isn't real because fucking, oh my God. But yeah, it's fake low. I just had this conversation with my cousin. He goes, I'm so annoyed with all of these people that are like, well, Trump's obviously doing a good job because gas prices are low. He goes, I feel like you have a reason why that's not actually the way that it is. And I was like, I do, and I don't want to talk about it.
Yep.
Let them live in ignorance. Let them be happy. Who knows?
Well,
there are two more stories I want to hit before because they're important stories. That first off, I alluded to it earlier because of Musk, but Pam Bondi coming out and saying the Epstein files are on my desk. We'll be releasing them. They release essentially stuff that's been released before, and then as we get to the middle part of the year, they're like, "What Epstein files? We don't know anything about Epstein files." That becomes a huge story because it really is a albatross on Trump's neck the entire year.
Yep. Well, and it's important to talk about this now, right?
Yeah.
In 4 days, a man is going to fly around the world, everywhere around the world, visiting little boys and girls. Previously, that had been Jeffrey Epstein, but it's going to be Santa on the 24th. It's sad. It's pathetic. It is astonishing, again, how many people are willing to be forsworn for power. People who said that they would do anything to get the Epstein files out, including Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're not out. And what came out was limited. The FBI
90%
said,
of the stuff that was released this week was redacted.
well, so right, the FBI said
Like
that
that.
some of the stuff that they couldn't get out was because of the
Donald Trump's name was so far in it that they're
well,
still trying to work through it.
but also it was affected by tariffs because Sharpies come from China and they ran out of Sharpies to redact everything. And
Black
so
ink. Yeah, I'm sure all the
exactly.
Office Depots in the DC area
It's
were out
like
of
the
black ink.
Barbie movie, but opposite. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
If they ran out of pink during the movie, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is it is crazy. And I still, we've talked about this a couple times. I am still convinced that somebody, maybe Prince Andrew, not Prince Andrew, Andrew Mountbatten, maybe Bill Clinton, maybe Bill Gates, is going to break that code of silence, that law of omerta, and will say, look, this is the shit that happened. It was whatever it was. We were stupid. We didn't think about it. We
were drunk
we
on
were careless.
power.
We were selfish. We were narcissists. Whatever it is, but I hope that that's what's going to happen.
Oh, that's cute.
I mean, I don't
Sorry,
think it's going to happen.
not to be patronized, but we're waiting on men to say first of all they were wrong, and also that
I
they were.
disagree that men won't say that they're wrong. See, that's a funny joke.
I'm gonna throw the phone, Dan. Okay. No, we are waiting on men to say that they were there, that they
Right.
were part of this. We are waiting on men to say that have grown children, that probably have grandchildren at this point. Things like that. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. These women came out. They said everything that they said, and still it doesn't damn matter.
Yep.
It doesn't matter, and it won't matter, y'all. Like I've been a woman for a minute now, and it's awful. And being a girl was even worse.
Yeah,
I don't see it happening. We're never gonna know.
Maybe.
I think Dan, you're right in that. At some point, someone, with some of this stuff coming out, you see the picture of Bill Clinton in the hot tub. You see, Andrew and all this other stuff. Eventually, they're going to release something that is going to pin something significant other than innuendo. Hopefully, I would love to see one of the survivors come out and say, this person did this to me. And then we had Jouffre say that about Prince Andrew and Andrew Mountbatten, that's kind of been the first casualty of this whole thing. And that he now has the impetus to do it. He hasn't done it yet. And my hope is that, Bill Clinton gets further down the train tracks and we have more concrete stuff on him. I don't trust him to flip on it.
Yeah,
I don't.
I think so. I'm just hoping. So, there are a couple names probably nobody's heard of, but Albert Speer and Hans Frank, both at the Nuremberg trials, admitted we knew everything. We knew what Hitler was doing. We knew the plan, the final solution was to kill all the Jews, all the homosexuals, all the Romani that we could find. And some of them would say, well, we were following orders, but they did say that they knew what was going on, and they knew, I think that it's fair to say that these are crimes of similar magnitude, not of scale, but of seriousness. Yeah. And it is, I just think that sometimes there are some people who hope that redemption is out there. And I hope that's what happens. I don't know. Maybe Hillary Clinton comes out and says, you know what? I tricked Bill and I got him to tell me the whole story. And this is what happened. And lock that son of a bitch up for all the other shit he did as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But I agree with you, AJ. I don't know if
Rape
there's
and
that much
pedophilia
justice
don't
left in the
matter
world.
enough.
Yeah.
They don't matter enough. They never will matter enough. And I know that that's really dark and awful, but it's true.
History bears that out.
Yeah, like I've just read too much. Like I'm so sorry. And there are times that I feel bad for myself because I have read too much. I'm like, fuck. Like once that is gone, like you don't get that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the final story, and not really the final story, but the one of the biggest stories is the government starts kidnapping people, just willy-nilly, just pulling people off the streets, no due process, no people not identifying themselves as federal agents, just pulling people off the streets and throwing them into planes and sending them down to places like Sikot in El Salvador, Venezuela. They want to send them to Uganda. Like the absolute lawlessness of this administration. Um, when the Constitution, the can't remember which 14th or 13th or 14th, I think 14th Amendment says
14th is
all
due process.
due process for all persons, not just citizens. It's not a citizen thing. It's a person. If you're here in the United States and you get pulled over for something, you've got due process. Because then if you don't do it like that, then the government is got the means to say, you know what, I don't think you're a citizen. So we're not going to give you due process. And you don't have due process if they deem you not to be a citizen, that you don't have due process to fight that, to say, yes, I am a citizen. And we've seen that. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was here legally, sent to CICOT, brought back, thrown back into detention, and continues to be thrown into detention on largely trumped up, well, actually all trumped up charges.
Yeah.
The
fake photo of his
tattoos,
nails.
yeah,
with tattoos on.
the Times New Roman MS-13 on his knuckles. Yeah. I mean, good God, like how dumb do you think we are? But his supporters are eating this shit up.
Yeah.
A lot of the problem that we're having is that they're not actually seeing immigrants as people. I saw that argument when all of us that have actually read the Constitution were like, it says person, it doesn't say citizen. They're like, well, they're not people. I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah.
These are people still arguing over the 3/5 compromise. So I mean,
100%.
Honestly, yeah, the very saddest thing about what has happened in this country is that we have allowed people to say what they've not been thinking, or to say out loud what they've been thinking for years. For a long time, people were like, I should not say that in public. Now they're saying it in public, and they're trying to get more followers to follow them because today, JD Vance says you no longer have to be afraid or to apologize for being white. When have you ever had to apologize for being white in this country? When? Name one fucking time.
Yep.
Like it's just like these idiots with the war on Christmas. They told me to say Happy Holidays and not Merry Christmas. I don't remember that being a law.
Ever.
Like you can say Merry Christmas.
Well, yeah, and the I'm trying to remember what the hell movie it was. There's a comedian whose name I can't remember right now. I'll think of it. She's got a great special on HBO. And one of the things she says, and it's true for everything she's talking about in women, she says, it doesn't cost any woman here anything to say nice things about another woman.
Nope.
And yet lots of us act like that's the biggest sin. And that's true for not just women, any human being, any minority. We can say these people are good people. It doesn't cost us anything. We are not diminished. And there are the people who want to say, I have to apologize for being white, feel like they have to say that because they don't like it when there are good things said about Black people or people of color. And they get nervous about that because they're like, why isn't anybody saying good things about me?
Yeah.
The reason why is because the entire culture that you live in says good things about you all the time. I
It's
was
just
in
like
a
the whole when's white Pride
yeah,
Month or when is Straight
exactly.
Pride Month, all that bullshit. Yeah.
I was at a shop at a checkout line in Massachusetts at Market Basket. Everybody from New England knows the best discount grocery store, packed all the time. And I went there and I was standing in a long line to check out. And there was a guy in front of me, old man, white, probably Italian. And right before his turn came up, they changed the cashier, and it had been a young white woman, and now it was a young black man. This guy got out of the line because he's like, I don't want a black person to check me out of the grocery store. And I'm like, as crazy as that is, that's something that every black person in America experiences something like that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great thing about black men. Doesn't matter where you are, you have to do things to not have people be afraid of you. Women put their purses on the other side. Men get out of your way when you're walking, or some men do.
So people
All
cross
these
the
things,
street.
exactly.
Yeah.
All these things, when in reality, nobody else has to deal with that level of innate societal discrimination. So the fact that people
Happy hunting,
choose to
Jeremy.
address that, and we're not making it, it's not a law, but see you later, Jeremy.
Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. Although you should probably watch the Patriots game instead of and then do the thing. Anyway,
Sex is
so
better than sports. I said what I
so
said.
you can combine them.
Well, that's true.
So the I lost my train of thought, but blah blah blah. Black History Month. Black History Month exists because people want to say nice things about people to counter all the shit that happens all the time.
And I talked about this last week. The reason why the least supreme whites are the most virulent white supremacists is because if they weren't, they have to admit to themselves that they're a least supreme white and that there are people of color that are above them in station and all that stuff, intelligence, all that stuff. That's 90% of it is that they have to admit to themselves that they are not a worthy human being, essentially. So
one of my favorite counter protests I ever saw was white supremacists were marching in Idaho, and a group of clowns got together to oppose them. And every time they would say "white power," they would throw white powder in the air. Or something, they would go "white power," and then one of the clowns would have his wife pick him up. "Wife power."
That's
and
fantastic.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
All right, y'all ready for the
beautiful.
quiz?
Well, I just want to say one thing, just 30 seconds.
Sure.
Two major conflicts at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe Gaza has cooled down a little bit. It certainly seems a little better. Shit is still fucked up in the Ukraine. I don't know how it's going to work out.
And that, that was also a big story, and that, we actually went into shooting at Iran. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Iran with kind of the slowest, most plotting attack ever, with the thousands of drones that are all shot down.
Yeah.
But the Israeli and the U.S. response, and that was more in July, the second attack. We'll talk about that next week. But the world is not at peace, as much as Donald Trump wants to get his name on the U.S. Institute of Peace.
Right. He's going to rename it anyway, just like he did the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
No,
they've already put his name on.
I was going to say, I saw the letters going up.
Well, they put his name on the Kennedy Center, but he also put his name on the IOP. So
really,
The guy that got rid of USAID. Yeah, that was.
He's an idiot. Let's see what the quiz says.
So as we were meeting last week, the story started emerging of the murder of Rob Reiner. Just a devastating story. First off, he was still directing, still doing great work, and
I just watched the Spinal Tap.
The Spinal Tap too.
Yeah. It's sad. It was a great movie.
Yeah. Drugs, mental illness. That seems to be the story there.
I do think that there is, it's sort of emerging that there was probably a 6-hour window in which people could have done stuff. There was a party that a lot of people were at
Conan O'Brien's.
At Conan O'Brien's house. And a lot of people wanted to do something and they didn't. It's okay look, I understand the idea that if you call the police, a lot of times that just makes shit worse. But there's also a time where you have to say, this is a situation in which we require that intervention.
Yeah.
And I think that we could have had, maybe something would have been a little bit better. But
yeah, anyway. You don't even have to call police. You could have called the Reiners and say, hey, your son's on a bender here, and right. Look out if he comes to your place.
Yeah.
Call the police.
Oh no, they were with him at the party. They took their 32-year-old son to the party to keep an eye on him. They knew he was already having issues.
Shit. All right.
So he was going up to all the famous people at the party and being like, "Are you famous? Who are you?" And just being obnoxious.
Okay. Yeah.
Essentially, and they all left. Like the kid got kicked out, and then later the Reiners went home. But yeah, there was a lot that could have happened.
I agree.
Oh, y'all are so sweet.
All right. Okay, so 5 Things news quiz for December 19th. So on Friday, there's a frog, there's an idiot, and there's Robert.
Oh.
Yeah.
So sad. All right, presidential address, a multi-day manhunt, a Hollywood legend. What do you remember from the week that was? Question number 1. President Donald Trump promised Christmas checks this week to which group? Postal workers, military service members, teachers, and healthcare workers. I'll tell you how it screws them.
Oh, it's military.
It is the military. Brandy gets it as well.
1776, right?
These checks are being taken from a housing fund. So if you are housed overseas, mostly it's overseas. But if you have to take off-base housing, you get a housing stipend. They're taking money from this fund, which is tax-free. They're cutting them 1776 checks, which are taxable. So they're getting screwed essentially on this payment by having to pay taxes on it. So military service members, Trump announced a primetime address that he would be issuing $1,776 checks to members of the military before Christmas. The payment is called a warrior dividend in honor of the country's founding in 1776. Look, I'm not going to begrudge anybody getting a little extra cash. It's just, this is more performance than anything. And
it's a reality TV show.
Theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, political theater where it makes it look like I gave you money, but I didn't.
Yeah. I'm not giving you as much as, and we get to tax this. So. All right. Question number 2. Brown University is reeling from a campus shooting that left 2 students dead and 9 others injured. Where is the Ivy League school located? Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, or New Hampshire?
I'm going to stay out, obviously.
And no, I'm not related to the dude. I know he has the same last name as me, but he's Portuguese. Valente is a name that goes across all of the Latin countries. So, yes, it is Rhode Island.
It is indeed Rhode Island. Now, let me ask a question. Since we're talking about the Ivy League, and we established earlier that the Ivy League has won more national championships in football than any other league, can you name all the schools in the Ivy League? There's only 8, and we got Brown.
You got Brown, you got Penn, you got Harvard, you got Princeton, you've got Yale,
Yep.
you've got Dartmouth.
Yep. 2 left.
Columbia.
Yep. And 1 more in New York. Upstate New York.
Shit.
Ithaca. Dr. West's first name. Cornell.
Not
Not bad. That was very good, Dave.
Yeah, I got first year that the Ivy League has allowed a team to participate in a postseason tournament in football. So
Yep.
yeah. So Rhode Island is the state, but yeah, Mr. Valente is not related to me. Question number 3: Hollywood is mourning the loss of director Rob Reiner and producer Michelle Singer Reiner. Which popular film did Rob Reiner helm? How many? The Godfather, Pulp Fiction, When Harry Met Sally, or Jurassic Park?
When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah. I wish they'd put they'd all been right.
That was such a good movie.
Yep. That the
Princess Bride.
Princess
Yeah.
Bride.
Mm.
He did a drama. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but so many films.
Yeah, The American President.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
Such a good movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Reiner's prolific career included directing iconic films such as Will and
Spinal Tap, of course.
Harry Met Sally, Spinal Tap, The Princess
Stand
Bride,
by Me.
Good Men,
Misery
Stand by
was the
Me.
one I was thinking of.
Oh, Misery.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. I saw that in the theater. I was way too young.
Yep. Amazing, amazing guy. And I mean, too, also, right? His dad's best friend, Carl Reiner, his dad's best friend is Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
And, to have him have to live through that, it's so sad and so terrible. If you want to watch something really sweet, watch the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee episode with Jerry Seinfeld and Carl Reiner. And it starts off as just supposed to be Carl Reiner. And then Jerry finds out that Carl and Mel get together every Wednesday night and watch movies and eat soup.
Oh.
And so he goes and hangs out with them, and it's fantastic. Nice. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love Mel Brooks. I loved Rob Reiner movies. Even his acting when he, was Meathead in All in the Family. Like it was that liberal anti-war voice that was on that show, and just tremendous writing in that show. Tremendous, that reason why that show still gets put on syndication is that it was such a tremendously written show that it still speaks to the divide in America.
Yeah.
All right, question number 4: Which broadcaster was sued by President Trump for $10 billion this week? Fox News, ABC, Al Jazeera, or BBC?
I have no idea.
Don
BBC,
likes
though.
Don likes it.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. Don likes it. He likes the BBC.
That's my guess. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So suing it for edited content of the January 6th.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting that the 2 people in charge of the BBC have resigned.
Yeah.
Essentially been forced to resign over that before the lawsuit.
But it's a government broadcaster, so the government has has more of a say there, and I'm sure that was the Starmer government really kind of put the screws to BBC on.
Well, and
to appease Trump.
The Brits have some pretty crazy defamatory laws.
Sure, yeah, they do.
I mean, a perfect example of this is one of my favorite shows is called "Have I Got News for You?" Don't ask me why I watch British news shows, but British panel comedy shows. Well, one of the things that they talk about all the time is that twice when somebody has been accused of a crime, they talked about it on the air, and and they forgot to say the accused. Blah 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 blah. That's a lawsuit in England. It's a big money lawsuit, even if the person is found guilty.
All right, question number 5: Which automaker announced this week that it's drastically scaling back its electric vehicle plans? Ford, Toyota, Honda, or Volvo?
Ford.
Yeah, I mean this
And
is
the
this
Lightning.
is the probably the one of the first targets of the relaxed cafe standards.
Well, honestly, though, I mean, the Ford Lightning was a pretty good truck, all things considered. But it
Well,
is,
the problem is the administration. Part of the
exactly.
relaxation of the cafe standards was to not allow electric vehicles to be factored into the reduction of gas mileage.
Right.
So all of a sudden, you build all these electric vehicles hoping that it helps you meet that 50 mile per gallon standard. But if you pull all those out of there,
Yeah.
it removed all the incentive to build electric vehicles. So
Right. I mean, that part of it is an interesting question because that's always been a bunch of bullshit on the way that they did stuff with cafe standards,
oh yeah,
that you would offset this with that. And, there are people who are saying that if it meant that you were making more efficient gas engines, that would be interesting. It also talks to the fact that the companies that only make electric cars are actually benefiting from this,
yep.
which is, of course, Tesla, which makes no gas powered cars. So, what it does is it gives Tesla a huge competitive advantage because they don't have to worry about any fuel based.
Fuel economy standards. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, question number 6. What is the name of this dazzling amphibian? We saw the bigger picture when we were looking through the context clues. It had like these really uh, just lapis lazuli type blue spots on it.
I have
Um,
no idea.
the
I don't know
speckled
why this is
frog, the
relevant.
galaxy frog, indigo frog, or midnight frog. So Brandy says galaxy.
I
I mean,
will.
I like it. I like galaxy frog.
I
I feel
think
like
that's cool.
Do we know why it's in the news?
It was discovered. Is that what it
well,
is?
no, nothing,
It was
nothing
in the news.
mentioned here. So it's probably something that happened
Yeah.
to it. Let's do Galaxy. It is!
Hey.
Yay! Known for the cosmic star speckled appearance, now they're under threat from unethical photography.
I mean, that's axiomatic, right? Or redundant to say unethical photography, maybe not.
Say
Well,
that
no, I mean,
again.
ironic that they use a photograph of the frog.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess if the photographers are, I would assume that these are hiding
I think
and
that
they pull
probably
them
what
out,
happens, they get the frogs drunk. Uh,
take advantage
and
of them.
well, they get them to take some photos that the frogs will regret later in life. That
It's on their only frogs, though.
exactly. No
Question number.
toads allowed, only frogs.
That's right. Question number 7. The FDA sent warning letters to major retailers this week for selling which of the following: unsafe toys, expired vitamins, contaminated seafood, or recalled baby formula. Oh, Brandy says recalled baby
Here's
formula.
I don't know with this one because I'm thinking, what's the craziest shit? And all of these things actually, it makes sense that you would send a warning label,
Oh yeah,
a warning letter. If Brandy says recalled baby milk, I
yeah.
agree with that.
We'll have to
It's
do
just
that.
awful enough to be true.
Yeah.
Well, and it feels like formula is always getting recalled for some
Well,
Uh-huh.
reason
and
or another.
the thing about it is, yeah, it is. One of the craziest things. It's too bad that Jeremy isn't here, but my sister, who we refer to as the smart fisherman, is also the baby whisperer. She worked neonatal ICU when she was working in the hospital, and one of the things that at one point in time she advised my brother on was that you can't give water to babies. And one of the really sad things that happens is that when there's not enough formula, people think, well, we'll just dilute it and we'll give
Yeah,
them more water and that ends up just with sicker babies.
Yeah.
And it's always sad to hear about.
Yeah, FDA sent warning letters to major retailers that are selling recalled formula linked to an infant botulism outbreak. Yikes.
Crazy shit.
Question number 8. New details are emerging about 2 suspects in the Bondi Beach attack, Piece of Shit and Piece of Shit Jr. The Australia's worst mass shooting in over 30 years. What was the relationship between these 2 suspected gunmen? Father and son.
Father
Yeah.
and son.
Siblings, neighbors, or coworkers. It was father and son.
And my understanding is that the pronunciation is Bondi Beach.
It's Bondi or Bondi?
I think it's Bondi.
Bondi.
Yeah. Bondi.
Just like the AG. Kim
Exactly.
Bondi, or whatever her name. Pam Bondi. Yeah. All right. Question number 9. Which drug did Donald Trump move to reclassify this week? We all know this one. Ketamine, marijuana, cocaine, or oxycodone. I think Elon Musk would have thrown a party if it was ketamine. But
I know, right?
Ketamine is already Schedule 3.
Oh, well, there you go. So marijuana, President Trump signed an executive order on Thursday to expedite reclassification of marijuana in an effort to increase research on its medical use, but not fully legalize it.
Right. And it's interesting because I thought it was going to be a lot worse.
No, and it's not cocaine. That would have had Don Jr.
Exactly.
So when it comes to cocaine, we just pardon the people that are running it.
Exactly. The Honduran president.
Yeah. Question number 10. The Oscars telecast will move from broadcasting to streaming in 2029, switching from ABC to which platform? Netflix, Disney Plus, Peacock, or YouTube?
I'm going to guess Disney Plus because they own ABC.
I mean, that I don't care, but I mean, like, sorry, but
I want to say YouTube.
I mean,
Brady says YouTube.
YouTube makes a lot of sense too. Listen, I know that there are people for whom, the Oscars are their Super Bowl broadcast. It is the thing that they watch and they love. So I think you will have a better experience with streaming than you ever had with ABC.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. I don't generally watch any of the award shows. They're tedious to me, but
there is footage from when who's the British guy who hosted the
Ricky
CBS
Gervais
show? No, the CBS late night show.
Oh, Craig
Ferguson.
No, not Craig Ferguson. He's Jimmy. He was in Cats. What the hell's his name? Carpool Karaoke.
Gordon.
James Gordon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So James Gordon hosted the Tonys one night.
Cordell, maybe? Cordell.
I think it's Corden.
Yeah.
He hosted, and there were clips from what happened when there was commercial breaks. There is a clip of Billy Porter singing "Everything Comes Up Roses," sort of just a complete improv of Jimmy working the crowd during the TV commercial. That is as good a performance as you will see anywhere. Just look for Billy Porter, James Corden, Tonys, and it's unbelievable. So if the streaming thing brings me that I get to watch, like streaming is so much better for football than the regular broadcast. I'm watching football right now.
The only complaint I have with streaming on sports and live stuff is that there tends to be a delay greater than if on broadcast television.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean,
because I'll be watching a hockey game, and then all of a sudden my phone pings and says, "Hey, goal scored by New Jersey," and like 15 seconds later, you see it on TV. That's my only issue with streaming. But yeah, if you get like all access backstage pass type deal, yeah, that's great stuff. I mean, that's really cool stuff.
Yep.
But all right, we're gonna do YouTube because Brandy said. Correct.
YouTube. All right.
We got 10 out of 10 again.
through no real virtue of our own.
Yeah,
the
that's
audience
true.
came through
It's like
again.
it's what did Brandy say?
Exactly.
Brandy said all the things.
All
Brandy,
the things.
Brandy is our trivia. She is our Jeopardy champion.
She is our Ken.
All right. Well, that is the show for this evening. Next week we'll be doing part 2 of the second half of the year. It gets a lot bumpier. as most, I mean, again, this is a year I kind of want to forget. It's been a rough one. And the second half of the year was no small part of that because of the government shutdown and all the other stuff. The Epstein files really heating up, and all of the bombings and all that shit. So stay tuned for next week. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Craig, and even Victor. And who else do we have on the show? Saw Tony on for a minute. Thomas Queter on as well. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you joining us. And we will see you all next week on the Political Deep Dive. Have a good one, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Don't forget to watch the Patriots playing right now on Sunday Night Football.
Go have sex. Don't watch sports.
Oh, happy Christmas.